very best, like no one ever was.
Hey everyone, my name's Sam. I'm a natural bodybuilder and a physique coach. And in this video, I'm going to share with you a little bit of how I've been eating and how I've been training to keep me in alignment with accomplishing my physique goals. More specifically, my natural bodybuilding goals, which is to more or less build as much muscle as I possibly can going into my next competition prep season. And also, whilst doing that, staying relatively lean throughout the process so that I don't have to lose an excessive amount of body fat when I do the prep. So my intention in sharing this with you is maybe you'll be able to take something that I've been doing, try it out for yourself and perhaps you'll find that it works really well for you. It helps you in accomplishing your own physique goals. So without further ado, I'm really excited about this. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right. I just finished my workout, I'm back home now, I'm starving, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm eating for my lunch. The meal itself is absolutely fantastic. It's a grilled vegetable and fish bowl. Now typically what I'd be doing is I'd be having broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. I'd be grilling that in a deep dish pan on the stove with some cod that I usually would have prepped and ready to go in the fridge. But I used the last of the prepped cod yesterday and I forgot to prep more this morning. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to use a couple of cans of tuna that I've got stocked away in the cupboard. So I'm going to use that instead of the cod. I'm going to throw I'm going to throw the vegetables on the pan on high heat. Then I'm going to go shower. I'm going to come back. The vegetables are going to be pretty much cooked. Then I'm going to throw the tuna on and finish cooking the rest of the meal. So I'm absolutely starving right now. I'm going to go shower and get this all ready to go. Just hopped out of the shower. I've mixed in the tuna to the cooked vegetables and it's pretty much all finished cooking already, which is awesome. While that is simmering a little bit, I am going to put together this really delicious low-calorie seafood sauce that I've been really into lately. It's like a seafood cocktail sauce, something that you'd have like dipped shrimp in. It's got kind of like a tangy, spicy, soury kind of a kick to it. So I'm gonna put that together. It's this homemade version. It's very low calorie, tastes really good to me. So I'm gonna put that together and then it's pretty much gonna be time to eat. And here we have the finished product. So I've got my grilled vegetable and tuna bowl. I forgot to mention that I also threw some egg whites in there as well to add a little bit more bulk and volume to the meal for relatively few calories and a little bit more protein to boot. Doesn't do a ton for the flavor, but it's just a little bit more volume. It makes the meal bigger. In addition to that, I've got my seafood sauce, like a cocktail sauce. It's got a bit of a kick to it, some sweetness, some sourness to it. It's really, really good with this meal. And then I've got my plain Jane rice cakes to boot as well. So I do have a little bit of a method when I eat this. Usually what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll grab part of a spoonful, a little bit of a spoonful of the sauce. Then I'll get a full spoonful of the grilled veg and tuna bowl. And then I'll eat that together. And my goodness, it's delicious that way. And then usually what I'll do is between bites of these two, then I'll have a bite of this. And I like doing that because it just adds a little bit of crunch. It adds a little bit of variety to the texture of the meal overall. So I love it. And that's my post-workout lunch. It's pretty basic, but to me it's super delicious, and it's also very much in alignment with my natural bodybuilding goals, helping me to build more muscle and to keep me relatively lean throughout the process too. It's very high in vegetables, so there's tons of micronutrients, lots of fiber. It helps to keep me feeling full until my dinner time. It's very, very high in protein with the fish and the egg whites combined. and I just really enjoy it. So anyways, I'm absolutely ravenous right now. I'm gonna eat this, and then I'm gonna get back to work and then go from there. Huge PR set here with these Romanian deadlifts for me with this load and this movement style. I'm lifting with 355 pounds, and I'm standing on that elevated platform there, which allows me to move with a greater range of motion, much more depth compared to if I was standing just flat on the floor. I'm also trying to move with a decently controlled eccentric tempo, so I'm moving slower on the way down with a full 1 Mississippi pause in that deep stretch position at the bottom of each rep. And I managed to hit my rep target, which was 10 reps. I always get really excited whenever I hit a PR. I think as we become more advanced of lifters, as we build more and more muscle and we get stronger and stronger, it comes with the territory that progressing becomes more difficult, and it takes longer, and it's slower for the needle to take steps forward. So every time I am able to move the needle forward a little bit, I'm really excited about it. The struggle with these sets here, of course, is getting everything I can out of my hamstrings and my glutes to get the most mileage out of every set, but also to keep my spine from folding over. I think that's pretty common for most people doing any deadlift variation. And you can see the latter reps of each set are not exactly picture perfect. I'm really fighting to keep my spine from rounding. That being said, I think that when it comes to pushing our limits to progress, I think that it's probably to be expected that our technique might get a little bit gray every now and again. It just comes with the territory of progressing. The important thing is we try our best to keep our technique intact, and that we, at the end of the day, keep things safe. I've got 3 different chest exercises that I rotate through in my program, including these flat dumbbell chest presses. I've also got a slight incline dumbbell chest press, quite similar to this, as well as a hammer strength machine chest press. For each of those exercises, I have different rep targets, so I move with different rep ranges at different loads to add a little bit of variety as far as that goes. For these flat dumbbell chest presses, my rep target is quite high. It's 18. And for this set, I was barely able to squeeze out, I think it was 15 reps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay at this load, which is I think 80 pounds, for as many sessions as it takes for me to squeeze out those 18 reps. And you can see this last rep here, it was a battle to just get 15. So it's going to probably take me a little bit before I can squeeze out those last several reps. Now, as far as technique goes, you can see here, I move with my elbows flared out quite a bit, and I also move super, super deep. The reason I move so deep is so that I can maximally stretch out my pecs and get as much muscle growth stimulus as possible as far as that goes. The reason I move with my elbows flared out that much is because 2 reasons. 1, it's very comfortable for me, and 2, that's where I feel the deepest stretch and I have the best mind muscle connection with my pecs compared to if I tuck my elbows in a little bit more. It also feels really safe for me. I don't remember the last time I had any kind of an injury doing this exercise. It doesn't work well for everyone. So if you find that flaring your elbows that much doesn't work well for you, then just try tucking them in a little bit more, or that's what I would do. And also too, the other thing to check is if you are finding that you're feeling like shoulder pain or pain in the elbows, you could also try just lifting a little bit lighter. I know that if I lift too heavy, then I will start to feel elbow or shoulder pain. So that's a big variable that should be considered as well. These are chest supported dumbbell rows, one of the staples for my upper back training at the moment, specifically my traps and my rhomboids, which is going to add a lot of thickness to my upper back, one of the areas of focus going into my next competition prep season. I finally figured out how to standardize the way this exercise feels. I found in the past that some sessions that I do these, they feel great. Like I feel tons of tension exactly where I want to feel it. And then other sessions I do it and they feel like really meh, even though I'm like using the same loads, I've got the same rep targets, but something for whatever reason, there's some sessions where it feels like it's not working the same way as it does for other sessions. And I think I've really finally figured out how to standardize the way that I do this so it always feels fantastic. And the kind of trick that I've been doing is I've just been pausing for longer at the bottom of each rep. And basically I created kind of a rule for myself. I will pause at the bottom of each rep and kind of allow my arms to stretch forward a little bit. And I'll do so for as long as it takes for me to feel the stretch in my traps, in my upper back. So it's such a simple, basic concept or principle, but sometimes it's just the simple things that lead to the biggest steps forward. So again, all I'm doing is I'm pausing for longer at the bottom of each rep until I feel a stretch, and that's how I get my mind muscle connection, and it's been working great. I've just got 2 bicep isolation exercises that I rotate through on my program, including these incline bench seated dumbbell curls, as well as an easy bar preacher curl. Both are fantastic. As far as technique goes, try to keep it pretty textbook here, where I keep my elbow kind of locked in place without any swinging or kind of momentum. That just works really well for me. I move with a nice controlled eccentric tempo on the way down, and at the bottom position I allow my elbows to fully lock out so I can elongate my bicep that way, just more or less move my bicep through a full range of motion. And something that really helps me with these, and not just these but almost everything, is that kind of bro-y concept of just thinking about keeping tension on the muscle. Honestly, it's another one of these super basic concepts that just goes a long way for me. If I'm thinking about genuinely keeping as much tension on my bicep as I possibly can, it kind of guides me to move in the way that leads me to that end, which is these super strict looking reps, where after I finish every set, I feel a decent pump, I feel lots of tension on my biceps, and I think I'm seeing some bicep growth. Now, for all of you masochists out there watching this, you're going to absolutely love this next one. It's a variation of a Bulgarian split squat using this machine here. I think the machine itself is meant for squats. Most of the people at the gym that I train at, I see them using it for shoulder shrugs, but what I've done is I've come up with this jerry-rigged setup to do Bulgarian split squats with the machine, and boy does it ever hit hard. The reason I like doing this as a change from just doing it with free weights, especially dumbbells, is using the machine. It takes out some of the demand for stabilization that would usually come with using free weights. So I find that I'm able to focus a little bit more and progress a little bit further, specifically getting more out of the local muscles that are involved, rather than like my stabilization or my cardio being the limiting factor a little bit more compared to if I'm using free weights. And the muscles that are getting hit, they really are getting hit hard. So there's tons of knee flexion here. So I'm really feeling it in my quads. I'm also really feeling it in the glutes. I think this is one of the best glute building exercises out there, in addition to being great for your quads. Other spots that I really feel it in particular, I'm not sure if everyone moves and feels it the same way, but for the way that I'm moving in my setup, I also feel it in my inner thighs, so my adductors, which I'm totally cool with, because that's going to lead to, more developed inner thighs is going to lead to more three-dimensional, bigger, overall, better developed looking legs, and I'm definitely cool with that. And I think it also hits the back leg rectus femoris a decent amount too. It's one of the heads of your quads. It's a hip flexor, and I think that little bit of a stretch at the bottom of each rep with that back leg helps add a little bit of stimulus there. So it's just a ridiculously productive, effective exercise. Here's another rowing exercise. It's just a standard dumbbell bent over row. I've got to say that since I've been
making an effort to bring up my upper back in particular, as it has been one of my weaker body parts. These rowing exercises, these upper back exercises, are starting to become some of my favorites. And I think it's partly from finally establishing a really standardized mind-muscle connection with the exercises. I love the feeling of tension in my upper back. As far as technique goes, I probably would have criticized myself in the past, even if it was a couple years ago, for my spine not looking picture perfect here. But again, I'm safe and I feel tons of tension. I'm progressing and I can see changes to my upper back. And then we got these hack squats here. So my training style with these and a lot of my lower body movements is to move with a decently controlled eccentric tempo. I'm really moving slow on the way down. The reason I like doing that is I just feel more tension in my quads that way, and I like that. I'm also moving as deep as the machine will allow me to move, and that is to where the backs of my thighs are fully pressed up against my calves. I'm maximizing the amount of knee flexion that's going on. So the more I'm bending at the knee, the more my quads are involved, more or less. So I'm trying, in short, to get the most I possibly can out of my quads. My rep target here is quite high. So again, I'm shooting for 18 reps. I managed 17 reps with this load and this style. I'm not lifting with a ton of weight, so there's just 2 plates on there. And I think next session I'll probably be able to squeeze out that 18th rep. What I'll usually do is I'll do as many continuous reps as I can. So you'll notice that I just paused there. That's what I'll do. I'll do as many continuous reps as I can. And then when I can't squeeze out another rep, I'll usually like pause for a second, 2, 3, 4 seconds, catch my breath, let some of the metabolic stress, the metabolites flush through my quads a little bit, and then try to squeeze out a few more reps. And that's what I do here to try to basically get the most mileage out of my quads as I possibly can. So I'm pretty close. I think it's just going to take me one more session before I hit my rep target of 18 reps. And last but not least is the slight incline dumbbell chest press. So the rep target is a little bit lower here, lifting a little bit heavier. Rep target is 8, only managed 7 reps, but I think I might be able to get that 8th rep next session. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you're curious, by the way, about my whole off-season plan, my improvement season, I made a separate video on that. I'm going to link it below, so you can click on that if you're curious. But thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And as always, lift hard, lift smart, and I'll see you in the next video.